Hello everyone, Silently here and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today we're going to be talking about why sugarcane is basically the worst thing to farm in Minecraft in general. It is absolutely terrible and it's honestly not as useful as you probably think it is. Of course, sugarcane farms are incredibly popular. Basically any base that you go to in any Minecraft world is going to have some form of sugarcane farm. And of course, you need a little bit of sugarcane to do some basic things, of course. Do you really need that much sugarcane? The answer is no. So we're going to be going over all of the things that you can use sugarcane for, and I'm going to be telling you why those things just aren't really that useful. So first of all, let's talk about the growing speed of sugarcane. This stuff is slow, so if you want to farm it in traditional ways, you need like a lot of it. Now on Bedrock Edition, it is especially slow in multiple different ways. On Java Edition, the random tick speed is actually 3, and on Bedrock Edition, the random tick speed is 1. The random tick speed of the game controls how fast the crops grow, and it's basically 3 times slower on Bedrock Edition. So if you want to get the same output as Java, you basically need a farm that's 3 times larger. Not only that, but I think there's probably a bug that causes sugarcane to grow just tremendously slow on Bedrock Edition. Like, it is actually painful. However, luckily for us on Bedrock Edition, we can actually bone meal sugarcane. It takes 1 bone meal, and then you get 2 sugarcane from that, and you can automate that incredibly easily to build a super tiny little farm, and that'll give you essentially all the sugarcane that you need. So in essence, on Bedrock Edition, this right here is basically the only sugarcane farm that you will ever need. It is a dual function farm. It can harvest the sugarcane passively as it naturally grows, and of course it can also bone meal the sugarcane as well. When you're bone mealing it, it produces 18,000 sugarcane per hour, so you need kind of a double speed item collection for it, and as you can see, it just cranks out the sugarcane. It's actually really quite nice. So basically, if you're playing on Bedrock Edition, this is really the only sugarcane farm that you should ever need. So let's talk about the things that sugarcane is useful for and why you just don't need that much of it. A really popular use for sugarcane is to churn it into paper and then trade that to librarian villagers for emeralds. However, this is basically the worst trade that you can really make. I'm sorry, it is. I gotta be honest here. As you can see, it can take up to 24 paper for a single emerald, and with the growth speed that you get from this stuff, it really just is not worth it at all. There are a ton of different villagers in this game, and so many of them just have lovely trades, such as fishermen. If you have an AFK fish farm or a squid farm, you can trade these fish to them and just get a ton of emeralds that way. And if you have an iron farm, you can trade it to the armorers, the weaponsmiths, any of those guys for a pretty decent price. Of course, there's also the farmer villagers as well. These guys are like the main emerald source for a lot of people because they can accept the potatoes and carrots and wheats and beetroots. They also accept pumpkins and melons and all kinds of stuff like that. And really, these guys are just a powerhouse of villager trading for emeralds. Furthermore, there's also like the villager discounts that you can get to decrease their prices, so you can get it down to like, you know, 1 pumpkin or 1 melon per emerald. Absolutely amazing. And of course, there's also raid farms that can be built for emeralds as well. So I can understand maybe trading some paper to librarian villagers early game if that's all you got, but you really should not rely on the paper trades long term because it's just going to take a lot of extra time. So what about books? Everybody needs books for everything. Books are incredibly useful, and of course you need a lot of paper for those. However, you can easily buy bookshelves from librarian villagers. If you do a little bit of zombie villager curing, you can get those bookshelves down to 1 emerald each. And in fact, this is actually a great way of having a villager trade loop. As you can see, this bookshelf is 1 emerald. You can buy that, break that down into 3 different books, and then you can actually sell those books back to the villagers for 1 emerald apiece. So you're basically getting 3 emeralds by spending 1. Stonks. If villagers aren't your thing, then go ahead and explore your local stronghold. Every stronghold in the world has 2 libraries guaranteed, and these things are just completely full of bookshelves. You can get hundreds and hundreds of books this way, and they're just kind of sitting there ready for the taking. Now, this is like the smallest library. There's also the double layer libraries, which have even more bookshelves. So you really don't need to craft that many books, chances are. And keep in mind, if you have Silk Touch on your packs, they will actually drop as a bookshelf item, so you don't even need to craft these things. Doing this will also save you just a tremendous amount of leather and cow farming too. Now, of course, there's always the speed potions as well. You might be someone who really loves yourself some speed potions, and these things are actually pretty fun, especially at the level 2. However, beacons do exist, although those have a limited range, and you know, you gotta set them up and fight a wither, so that's not really a valid argument. However, again, how many speed potions are you really going to be using in your world? And each piece of sugar or one piece of sugarcane will give you 3 potions. So again, you just don't really need that much sugarcane, no matter how many potions you're brewing. Now, of course, with potions also comes the tipped arrows as well. However, it only takes a single piece of sugarcane to get an entire stack of speed arrows. You put 3 speed potions into a cauldron, click on that with a stack of arrows, and bam, you now have yourself a full stack of swiftness arrows. Now, horse breeding is one place where you might legitimately need a lot of sugar. You can speed these guys up by clicking on them a ton with sugar, like literally just force feeding it to them. It's not that healthy, but they do grow up big and strong and really fast, so I guess it's not too bad. Anyway, once they're done being fed, you can, of course, ride them and do all that kind of stuff. So this is one place where a bunch of sugar is legitimately useful. You didn't see that. So at this point in the video, you're probably screaming a variety of things at the screen, one of which might be rockets. And rockets probably is the single biggest use of paper and sugarcane that you have in your worlds. It takes 1 paper to make 3 rockets, so over time, you're gonna be using a lot of paper and a lot of gunpowder to craft these things and fly around with your elytra. And especially if you play on multiplayer or if you wanna have a rocket shop, then you're gonna be using quite a bit of paper. However, as someone who flies around with rockets and does not use them sparingly, and also has a rocket shop, I am supplying about half of the truly Bedrock server with rockets just by using one of these tiny little sugarcane farms. Another nice pro of this is if you do ever run out of rockets, you don't have to wait for your sugarcane farm to grow and harvest it. You simply flick the lever and then you get instant sugarcane. And max, it takes like a couple minutes to get several stacks, and then you can craft a whole bunch of rockets. So again, another win for this style of farm. There's really no need to build a massive sugarcane farm if you're worried about getting rockets. The same thing could be said for maps as well. You can craft maps out of 9 paper, or you can simply spend 2 paper and 4 planks and make yourself a cartography table, and then you can make a map out of a single piece of paper. So where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with composting, and even this is not really that great. Come on, I tried, okay? I tried to find something it was good at, but it only gives you a 50% chance to fill up a layer, so it can take like 12 or so sugarcane to fill up a composter and get 1 bone meal out of. Whereas beetroot has a 65% chance of filling up a composter, so I tried. I really did try. Now, you gotta admit, it's a pretty sad day when you get beaten by a beetroot. I mean, come on, it's a beetroot for crying out loud. On a side note, if you are looking for a good bone meal farm, a crimson fungus farm is actually an amazing source of bone meal. You put a little bit of bone meal into it, and then you get a ton of bone meal out of it. I forget the rates, but it's something like 20,000 bone meal per hour or something. And of course, you don't need to build both sides. And overall, it's just pretty solid. It's basically like the best way to get bone meal on Bedrock Edition. Now, that being said, I do still really like sugarcane and sugarcane farms and designing sugarcane farms, and I actually have a couple of really interesting farm designs that you can see behind me here that I have not released on the channel. So if you want to see these released, then let me know in a comment down below. I do still really like sugarcane, I promise you, even though I kind of destroyed it in today's video. So what do you think about sugarcane? Is it worth farming? Is it worth using? Is it worth having a massive farm for? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if there's anything that I missed in today's video, then let me know down there as well. I feel like this is something that is kind of interesting and that we can definitely have a little bit of a discussion about. So tell me your thoughts about it down in the comment section. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope that you have greatly enjoyed. If you have, then leave a like on the video, possibly subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss future videos, and otherwise, I'll see you in the comment section down below and in the next one. And then there was silence.